From first hunts to lifelong traditions, we're here to honor the heritage, hear the passion, and connect through the stories that make us all hunters. Grab your gear, find your stand, and listen in as we share another journey that shapes a hunter's legacy. This episode is brought to you by Logic Hunt, an app designed for the future of hunting, helping you prepare with purpose and pursue with precision. All right, we're going. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going all right. Nice warm weather we're having, finally.
Glad we could finally find a time to sit down and meet.
Yeah, I had some things come up over the last time. Had the 5-year-old, and that would have been no good.
Life gets busy.
Oh, it's always busy.
We're here with Nick Miller. Glad to finally find a time to get you on here. So why don't you go ahead and start by telling our listeners, all 9 or 10 of them, a little bit about yourself, where you're from.
Oh, I live in western Kentucky right now. Born and raised in Illinois, southern Illinois, Polk County, Shawnee National Forest. Travel the road, work in construction right now, safety guy, so everybody loves me out here. But
I bet.
Yeah, and I've been in the bow hunting thing since I started bow hunting in 92, I guess it was. I got a bow in 91. 92, we moved to southern Illinois where there was more timber because I grew up in central Illinois, Decatur area. Kind of like where you're at up there in Iowa, all cornfields, woodlots, fence rows, that type of terrain.
So you're on the road doing construction a little bit. You mind sharing a little more about that? What kind of construction are you working with, and how many times a day do you get called OSHA?
I don't call OSHA. OSHA only comes out if it's bad.
I mean people give you crap for being the safety guy?
Yeah, constantly. I mean, I came off my tools. For 20 years, I hung iron and rigged underneath the crane. And so I've done everything they're doing. I know all the tricks. I know how you'll try and skirt the rules because I skirted the rules. Yeah, all day. There'll be some little snide comment here or there about safety. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm doing. Yada, yada, yada. Kind of gets old after a little bit, but just try to grin and bear it. Keep guys in good spirits.
Are these people you worked with before you took over the safety role?
No, these are none of the people I worked with. I grew up more in the power plant industry than I did hanging iron. I mean, I've hung iron. Actually, I've hung iron quite a bit in Iowa. Actually, over Council Bluffs area, that area over there. And I did some of them windmills I'm sure you love up there in northern Iowa.
A lot of them.
Some of those. Yeah, that was, and actually, all the places I've been, I said I would move to if I didn't live where I lived at is Iowa. People were nice, big deer, of course. You guys have pheasant, all that stuff. We don't have any pheasant where I live at, so.
Yeah, that can make it a challenge. At least with your job, taking on a safety role, it's a little bit easier if you come into the role without knowing people. Whereas if you'd worked with these people for a long time, working side by side with them and taking over their safety role, they might try pushing you around a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, because I probably broke rules with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had been difficult to do it like that. Doing it how I'm doing it now, it's not bad. I mean, I'm not the safety guy that... I'm trying to be the safety guy that I like, not the safety guy I didn't like.
There you go.
It's been a challenge. It's been different. The safety part, seeing the safety part isn't hard. The computer's the hardest part for me. I'm 45, so I didn't grow up with the computers. I mean, you're younger than I am, and probably more experienced with the computer.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but so you work in safety. Sounds like you're following a construction crew around. What else do you like to do in your free time other than hunt?
I hunt and fish. That's about it, really. I mean, we do. I mean, we'll go on vacations, we'll go kayaking, we'll do that stuff. I mean, when it's me, my time, that's what I'm doing. Hunting or fishing. Or riding around looking for deer. One of those three.
There you go. So you started hunting in 91, or is that when you first started picking up bow hunting?
That is when I started bow hunting. I started gun hunting in 1990. I did not kill a deer till 94. I wounded a deer the first year. I don't know over the next 3 years how many deer I missed. But it was a bunch.
We've all been there.
And it took forever to kill that first one. Once I killed that first one, then I started killing deer.
Did you have to start off with does or small buck?
My first deer was a 125-inch 9-pointer. Field dressed 220 pounds.
That's a pretty good start.
Yeah, and then my first bow deer will be the next year, 95. I killed a doe with my bow, which that was like I guess what they call it now would be hanging bang, because I carried a little Loggy Bayou cheap seat. I don't know if you even know Loggy tree stands. They had a cheap seat, and it was only like, it was a gun stand is what it was made for, because it was short, and I'd carry it and 12, 15 screw steps, and that's how I was hunting. I was a mobile hunter that way. I didn't buy a climber for another 3 years after that. I finally bought a Loggy, then I was really big. Had the whole old Loggy Bayou climber, and the first deer I killed with the bow, I climbed up, and at the time I shot a fletch hunter. I don't know if you've ever seen a fletch hunter. The trigger on it screws in. I climbed up there, pulled it out of my pocket. The trigger is gone. It's unscrewed.
On your release?
Yeah, yeah. So I have no trigger on the release. But I originally shot fingers to begin with. So I picked out a spot, shot out a leaf, seeing how I was going to hit different with fingers versus release. Sure enough, here came two does, about 14 yards, double lung to her. She went 70, 75 yards, fell over. Then I was a bow hunter.
There you go. What kind of bow were you shooting back then?
Well, I had a state of the art XI Legend Mag, Miles Killer Edition.
Say that again?
An XI Legend Magnum.
Never heard of it.
Well, out of Minnesota, you ever heard of Miles Killer?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he endorsed XI back then. I had the overdraw, I had the knotty birch arrows, I had, aluminum arrows, 2213s, 2314s, fixed blade broadheads, of course. I think I was shooting probably muzzies then. That's how I cut my teeth killing my first deer, like that. And I've been obsessed with whitetails since I was a kid, though. I'd get off the bus, have an hour and a half to hunt. I'd walk a mile and a half to hunt for 35 minutes. Then there's a dude that used to drive around looking for deer. He was drinking beer before he went home, and he'd always pick me up. And he was a big time bow hunter, and I learned quite a bit talking with him. But
were mechanicals even a thing back then?
The first mechanicals I remember seeing were the Spitfires. When they came out in, I want to say 97, 98. A lot of people don't know Rage broadheads used to be Rocky Mountain broadheads. It was a Rocky Mountain design. Yeah. And then Paradigm bought it and changed the name to Rage. It was the Sniper, Rocky Mountain Sniper. If you look it up, it's the same broadhead, just a different name.
And they must have figured out the marketing.
Yeah. They figured out if they spent the money on the name guys, the Drurys, the Lookhouse, all the big name TV people, they could make money off that broadhead. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Rage broadheads. I never liked them. I always thought they were dull.
What do you shoot now?
Oh, let's see. I think I shoot Spitfire Max this year, the Maxes, the 1 3/4 inch cut. I have found people say, oh, you don't shoot enough pounds. I'm a 70-pound bow, 29-inch draw, and any 2-inch I've shot, I've had penetration trouble as far as blowing through completely through.
Really?
And I want to be on the other side. I don't know if it's because I always try and shoot the offside shoulder. I'm aiming to bust that shoulder on my opposite side.
Mechanical?
With a bow. Mechanical, fixed, I don't care. I'm going to come in behind on the near side, and I'm going to go out, if I can, on the shoulder.
You're not getting all the way through even with a good fixed broadhead, are you?
Yeah, the 1 3/4 inch will go through, which is weird. And it's an over-the-top design. But a 2-inch slip cam, I blew through a couple, but it was if I was back a little bit and didn't get into a lot of bone. I don't know. It's always been something I've noticed. It's strange.
Yeah, I've always been big on fixed just because of reliability. But one of my buddies talked me into, so this is called a Sever.
Yeah, at the 1.5 or 1.75.
Yeah, that looks pretty gnarly. Even if it doesn't open up, it should do some damage. Yeah. But I'm kind of big on the reliability of a fix, so we'll see how this goes.
Well, I remember that when that was all you could get. You could choose Muzzy, Sawicki, the Wasp, and Thunder Edge, and that was pretty well. Rocky Mountain had some broadheads, but they weren't known as a good broadhead. They were kind of cheaply made, it seemed like. And then, of course, there's the Allens and the Copelands and stuff like that at Walmart. But
good stuff, man.
That's back in the day stuff.
I was shooting the G5 Montex for a while, mostly because I just like the idea of them, the reliability. The one thing that I really like about these, and I'm not sponsored by any means, but I'm
not sponsored by any of them, so
I can't even figure out how to So what you can do is once you fold them in, if I can figure it out, you can put a little screw in there.
Set screw.
So once it's closed, you can shoot them like a field point. I just can't.
Yeah.
So I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got a set screw that goes in it. It's, somebody else had one that was similar to that was a rear deploying like that you could set a screw in. We used to shoot like the expandables, shot a lot of rockets, expandables back when they were popular. A lot of times, if you wanted to shoot it and see how it flew, you could take like a dental floss and wrap it and keep it tied.
Really?
And then it'd go on the target, it wouldn't deploy, and you'd keep the blade sharp, but you could see how it flew.
Yeah, I know with Rage, you got to buy damn near $20 just for
Yeah, it's $60 for 3 now, isn't it? Or $60 for 4.
pretty outrageous, isn't it?
It's unreal what broadheads cost and stabilizers now and sights. Oh my god, how times have changed.
I have a Matthews lift, and I won't say I'm a Matthews fanboy, but I kind of am. And gosh, by the time you buy the bow and $400 sights, depending on when you get stabilizer, quiver, a lot of money.
Well, I mean, look at the new Hoyt bow. You're looking at $1,400, $1,200 walking out the door bare. Nothing on it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Well, my son, he shoots Matthews. He shoots the VX 328, the 28-inch one, I think, is the one he's shooting.
Okay.
He's a monster. I mean, he's
Really?
a killer. I taught him well.
Has he taken over your skill set yet?
He's not as good as me at this moment. He'll be better than me, though, eventually.
How old is he?
I mean, 23.
23. He's still pretty young then.
Well, he's been killing deer since he was 7.
Isn't that
He
crazy?
killed his first shotgun deer when he was 7. He killed his first bow deer at 8. And it was a bow. It wasn't a crossbow. It was a bow.
Really?
Yeah. And, I mean, I had him out shooting every day in the yard. He wanted to go. He's like 38 pounds. He's wanting to go. I was like, you got to bust 40. That was when Illinois was still at 40 pounds. Finally, he got it back there. Yeah, he killed his first deer. The one I sent you a picture of it with the
40 pound pull weight, or he had to weigh 40.
Yeah, it was 40 pound draw weight.
I'd never heard of that until you just mentioned that.
Yeah, Illinois since went to 35 pound per deer, which fixed blade, probably a cut on contact 2 blade, you'd do all right, I would think, but that's awful lightweight. And he'd always see me shooting an expandable or whatever, and he'd want me to shoot it, and I'd be like, can't do it. Not till your weight's up.
Be just like you, huh?
He did, yeah, but I mean,
Not
now
anymore.
he kills. No, he's an electrician now. I've got a grandson. I got a 2-year-old grandson from him. So he's gotten into the duck hunting real big. So he's spent some more time chasing ducks and geese and turkeys than anything anymore.
You ever go waterfowl hunting with him?
No, I had a buddy who's since passed away, and he was big into waterfowl. And he would call me and be like, it's going to be great tomorrow. And it would be the most absolute brutal, nasty conditions. You know, wind blowing 50 miles an hour from the north, spitting rain, freezing rain, snow, sleet. And he'd be like, it's going to be great today. And I'd be like, I'm not going.
Whenever my buddies ask me, I always kind of make an excuse not to go waterfowl hunting. I know it'd be extremely fun, but man, hunting's expensive enough the way it is. And from what I've seen, you can get just as much money in that if you start buying decoys, a trailer.
Yeah, you start wrapping up more money. And my buddy told me, he's like, you love to call, because I do love to call turkeys. I don't care to shoot them, but I'll call for anybody. And he's like, you love to call. He's like, you ought to come do this, try this out. He's like, but you're going to have to buy this and this and this. And I'm like, no. Because my kids were still young in, too. I was still raising kids. I mean, I'm remarried now and got a stepdaughter that's 17. I'm just about out of the raising kids stage.
There you go.
I mean, well, we had the 5-year-old for a little bit. We had custody of her, and we had her a couple years. I forgot how expensive diapers were and daycare and everything that went along with that. But she's back where she belongs. So now we're kind of getting a chance to kind of sock some money back and,
spend it more on
ahead.
hunting.
I go through spurts. Like, I don't have to ever buy another broadhead probably for another 15 years because eBay kills me. I'll see a deal for 3 packs or something, and I'll be like, I'll just place a bid. Just saying I'll end up winning them. Well, I've got broadhead after broadhead. Muzzies, Grim Reapers, Spitfires, Thunderheads. I mean, just you name it, I pretty well probably got it. At least one floating around.
Yeah, you kind of sound like me. I go through spurts where I'm really good with my money, then I get kind of some compulsive, obsessive order where I start working on a project and just kind of get obsessed with it.
Yeah, well, I see something, I'm like, well, I don't need it, I don't need it, I don't need it. In a span of a month, packages will start rolling in, and my wife will look at me, she'll be like, we get on eBay again? Yeah, we got on eBay again.
It's probably just as bad as Amazon.
I don't shop Amazon.
Well, don't
I've
start.
never, yeah, I've never checked it out. I've always did eBay, and that's more the bidding thing, I think, than anything.
Yeah, you could. Amazon's just way too easy. You search what you're looking for, press a button, and it's there the next day.
Yeah, I've got buddies that shop like that. But yeah, when I started out, land leasing wasn't a thing. There for 7 years, I could hunt prime farm ground in farm country there. I could hunt anywhere. I just go up, talk to the farmer. Well, he didn't care. They didn't start leasing until about 99, 2000 is when it really took off, and I got kicked out of just about every spot I had. So we ended up moving south to where the public was.
Why don't we jump back a little bit? So when you got started hunting, how old were you in 1990, 1991?
I was 10. I was born in 80. So I was 10 in 90. When my first year, I had to sit with dad. And then I hit a really nice deer. But a lot of that was just an experience on how to shoot a deer. Because it was a quartering two shot. With a shotgun, that's still an easy enough shot. But at 10 years old, that, I don't know, it must have been real cold that morning because that barrel was moving all over the place. I remember that.
So when you got started, do you remember, he trying to pull you out to hunt, or just something that you naturally picked up, like, hey, Dad, take me with?
But yeah, my dad's took me since I was, I don't know, 4, 5. He was packing me coon hunting, rabbit dogs, pheasant hunting. We did that, rabbit hunting. We still have rabbit dogs to this day. I hunted everything, but I've always, since I can remember, been a deer guy. I'm just obsessed with antlers. Not muleys, not elk, not moose, just whitetail deer.
Yeah, when people bash hunters, oh, you're just trying to kill innocent animals, the reality of it is that's nothing like how it is. It's about the challenge and the landscape when you're out there in the wilderness. It's just kind of a pretty cool experience.
I mean, you can just totally clear your mind out, just out there by yourself. You can solve all the world's problems in an afternoon. But no, it. When I was younger, and my son is still in this stage, it was a kill stage. I was there to kill. I mean, we eat everything we harvest. We eat all. None of it gets wasted. But yeah, I was there. I was there to kill. That was a motivating factor. As I've gotten older, I've gotten more selective on what I want to take. If it's a deer I want, really, I've learned to pass deer now. A lot of times I don't stand up anymore. I don't grab the bow. I just watch them. My son, he's still at the stage where it's kill.
Yeah, you're a little bit older than me. I was born in 88, but I think around 27, 28 is when you start, just in general in life, your mindset changes and you start to appreciate things more.
Yeah, I'd say probably after I killed my gross boon, I started. You're not going to kill a gross boon every year unless you have a great farm. I killed that deer on public ground.
Really?
Well, public-private come together. But yeah, he come all public ground. So once I killed the big deer, it was kind of okay. Settled back, but like I said, I still raise a kid, eat deer meat. My ex ate deer meat. My family eats deer meat. I mean, my dad makes summer sausage. He makes jerky, brats, just about anything you can make. We've made it probably once or twice.
So if you've been hunting that long, what do you think have been some of the biggest changes since 1990 to now in terms of hunting landscape, types of hunters?
People seemed a lot nicer back then.
Really?
We still had the check stations. And if you killed a spike or you killed a doe or you killed a 175-inch deer, it was a handshake and everybody slapped your back and you were looking at deer coming in. But everybody was friendly. And it seems like now I'd like to go to some of the bigger deer shows, but you're not going to see the bigger deer that got killed because everybody wants to hide it now. They don't want somebody moving in to lease on them.
Oh, that's 100% accurate.
It's become a game more about money. And I mean, the Juries, the Wachowskis, the Kiskis, all of them, they seem like very nice people. They worked hard for their land. They deserve what they've got. But not everybody can afford 25,000 acres in Iowa.
That's exactly right. One, it kind of messes with the deer population. There's not enough deer control that needs to be taking place in terms of does. It messes with people coming in by these big acres farms and drives the price up so the average person can't buy it.
Well, glad your farmers don't let you in no more. Even a pheasant hunt or whatever, small game hunt, they don't even, it's leased out. You try to talk to whoever's got the lease, they don't want you on it.
That's how Europe is. It's kind of turned into a rich man's sport. If you don't have money to play, you're going to have to sit on the sidelines.
Yeah, I mean, it slowly seems to be progressing that way here. That's why we moved to where we did, because Shawnee National Forest is 277,000 acres of public land. I see trucks from everywhere down there deer hunting.
Really?
I mean, I have people hit me up on Facebook all the time, and if they're nice, they talk to me the right way, I'll drop them a pin to a spot. It's public land. The only thing I ask them is, if you go here, let me know if you're seeing anything. So it's like running a camera without having a camera.
You can bait in Kentucky, can't you?
We cannot bait in Kentucky where I live now. They detected CWD last year or 2 years ago. So they shut the baiting down for the 3-county area I'm in. But yeah, you can bait in Kentucky on private. Not
On
public.
private. Okay.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on baiting deer?
I've done it. We picked up a spot. We picked up a 4-acre patch, killed 16 deer out there in 2 years. .com guy that hit big, moved down there. The neighbors next door to him feed the deer. Well, they come through his yard. He's all about his yard. And he was going to have the sharpshooters come in there and kill. And
Really?
my son came over there and changed it out to some pictures. And the guy said, well, he hunts. And he said, you guys want to come over here and shoot some deer? And a lot of people think it's shoot fish in a barrel. And I can see where it can be beneficial late in the year. But the first two are like shoot fish in a barrel. And then it changes quick. They learn quick.
Yeah, I'm a little bit indifferent about it. If they were to legalize it in Iowa, I would be pretty upset. But if it's legal and other people are doing it, you can't just not do it if you have the opportunity, because
look at Ohio. Ohio, if you don't bait, you ain't gonna kill a mature deer. That's what I mean. Some of the biggest deer every year hit the ground in early September, but you know what? They don't ever talk about the bait pile, do they?
No,
but they're doing it, and I know several people from Ohio that do it. Like I said, if it's legal, by all means, if it's legal.
That's like us saying, okay, I don't want to use cell trail cameras when they're available. Maybe you don't use them, but
I don't use a camera, period. My son, he does.
Looking back when I was younger, before I had cameras, it was just different. The anticipation of not knowing what's out there.
I'd say cell cameras or cameras in general save more deer than they killed.
You think
because
so?
Where you would have shot that deer, you seen a picture of another deer, so you pass this deer in hopes that you're going to kill that deer.
That's a good point.
Because you didn't know back then. I always rode around, though. I mean, where I grew up at, it was all corn and bean fields, small woodlots. That's where I cut my teeth. 10 acres, 20 acres, 50 acres, smaller timbers. It's totally different when you get down to the big woods. So when you're hunting 5 miles by 12 miles, and every time I talk about it, people are like, well, you just got to find an oak tree. Well, what, that 5 by 12 miles is nothing but oak. So how do you figure out which tree they're eating?
I hunt a big oak timber, and it kind of sucks hanging tree stands in it, because most of them, when you go to throw a strap around it, you can't even get around the damn thing.
Yeah, so big that you can't get your strap on. See, we use climbers. I don't leave a stand. Had a couple stands that grew legs and walked off on me. My son and I both just use climbers, basically.
What kind of climbers do you use?
Me and him both run old mans, and then I've got a lone wolf that I run too. They work out good for what we do. But we have a lot of tall, straight trees that ain't limbed up, too.
One good thing about oaks is a lot of them, at least in Iowa, they'll hold on their leaves dang near until February. Perfect cover.
Oh, yeah. And it depends on which oaks you are. Like, when I got into deer hunting, I got into construction, too. Well, boilers, their busy time is the spring and fall. So, like, our jobs would run through February to May or June, and then start in September and run till Thanksgiving, first, second week of December. So I got to where I was just late season hunting. But for a long time, I took all the deer season off. And that's all I did. I'd save money all year, and then I'd deer hunt every day. It was interesting. I mean, A lot of older guys always said, why don't you stay and make the money? I said, when I get older, I'll stay and make the money. Right now, while I'm young and I can still enjoy it, I'm going to do it.
Back when life was easy and you had less responsibilities. I've been there. College.
I never went to college. I went to school of hard knocks.
But just the younger years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I even did it when my kids were still little. Save up enough money, but then I'd watch them during the day. After I'd go visit my mom and dad. Because I was still in the mindset of going, I hunted hard. I'd hunt. I was hunting every afternoon for sure. About half the mornings, quarter of the mornings. I'm not a morning guy. So
I used to be there with you.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't like waking up early. My son loves it. My dad loves it. My brother loves it. I despise it.
Yeah, everybody's a little different.
And but yeah, my son, he'd hunt with my dad a lot. So in turn, now whenever my grandson gets a little bit older, I have a good idea on where he's going to be because my son's still going to be hunting that next big deer for a little while, anyways. And then he watched me, and then he wanted to go with me. And then when I'm like, well, you're going to go with me? It's going to be cold. You're going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to be fun. And finally, he started going with me. And a couple times we had little talks about it. Now, I just hope he gives me a call when he kills one sometime. He's doing his own thing now, which is natural. I did the same thing with my dad. You know, his son will do the same thing with him. A never-ending cycle.
I've noticed that 16 to 24, 25, you're almost too cool for dad, and then it starts coming back around.
Oh yeah, well it's 16 to 25. They don't know what you're talking about. They're the dumbest person you've ever met. And then about 25, you realize, maybe he wasn't.
Looking back to your years of hunting, whether it's with your dad hunting by yourself or hunting with your son, are there any hunts where you'll never forget, just completely blew you away and just hooked you even more?
When I killed my boon, my gross boon deer, that one hurt a little bit. I killed the deer, tough shot, walking hard in the thicket, 26 yards, heart shot him. He went 50, went over. Couldn't ask for better. But it had been raining for like 2 days, and I went out there and killed him coming through on a straight line. The next door neighbor there had an access lane down to the fields. So I went and asked her, I said, hey, can I use your access lane to go down to this bottom field here? I've got this deer on the edge of it. I'd like to pull him up the truck without ruining his cave because I'm going to get him mounted. And she looked at me and she said, did you kill the big deer I've been watching? I said, well, he's a pretty good deer. 13 points. I sent you the picture. He's 174-inch gross deer. She said, well, stop by. I've been watching him all summer. I'd like to see him. I said, okay, I'll stop by. And I went down there and picked him up. And I came up the hill and I honked, beat the horn when I got up there. I said, here you come look at him. She got 30 yards from the truck. She looked, she said, that's not the big one. He was running around with the big one. I mean, that deer had the tip of his beams and every point he has is chipped. And the taxidermist looked at me and said, I don't know where you're hunting at. I'm not going to ask you. You're not going to tell me. He said, but I'd go hunt there because he's been beat up by a deer that's bigger than him.
Really?
Yeah, he said he's a wider deer and he's all bruised up on the back of his head where the deer's antlers were wider coming around hitting him on the back of the head. So then my son, when he killed his first deer, I was shaking harder than he was, I think, before he shot.
Really?
Yeah. He looked at me and said, you got to be okay? I said, yeah. He's like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and shoot her. I said, well, shoot her. He shot. She bounded off like he missed. I was like, I think he missed. She stopped, stood there about 30 seconds, went down, and he shot her right through the center of the heart. Gave no sign of being hit.
With the shotgun?
Yeah. When I was, probably 16, I was hunting a river farm. The biggest 8-pointer I've ever seen on the hoof in person. I got out there a little bit later than I wanted to in the afternoon. And it was the beginning of November, so they were in the chasing phase. And I got out there. I wanted to be out by 1 o'clock. I ended up in the stand at like 10 to 2 o'clock. I'm climbing up. And I'm about up to where my highest is going to be. My bow's on the ground. And I hear something and look. And here comes this 8-pointer that's probably 155, 160-inch 8-pointer. It's the biggest 8-pointer I've ever seen on the hoof ever.
That's big.
And he's following a doe. She comes up to my bow, steps to the right, and goes around it. He doesn't even look down. He just steps over the bow and keeps following her.
They can be kind of dumb sometimes.
I've never had that happen since then. But, yeah, he literally stepped over my bow while it was on the ground. And if I'd been there when I wanted to be, it'd have been
game over.
Shot. Yeah. Well, I probably would have figured out a way to mess it up. I mean, in 30 years of doing it, I've messed up about every way you can mess up on a big deer, on a good deer, anyways. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, deer, even turkeys, they're so smart, but they do some pretty stupid stuff too. Like I used to chew and I'd spit and it bounce off the bottom of the tree stand and deer would come lick it. And other times they'll be walking 40 yards away upwind and they'll just look right up your tree stand. Gotcha.
yeah, yeah, gotcha, right there. You didn't even move, and
Do the little head bob, peekaboo.
yeah, yeah. I've seen that several times, followed by the snort, followed by the whitetail.
The worst thing with does are you could see them, you get this feeling that they busted you, but they're not running off. They'll turn around and walk away. Thank God I'm in the clear. And then they'll just like, jerk their head back, stare right at you. And you're like, maybe there was something over there. So they'll start walking back towards you. I'm like, you get out of here.
If you blow, you're gonna die. I'm gonna
Yep.
kill you if you start
Yep.
blowing. You can go live your life and raise your phones, or you could blow and you could die. Either or.
They just don't let it go. If they're curious about something or they have their suspicions, they're not going to just walk away till they figure it out.
Deer are amazingly tough animals.
For sure.
My brother, like Illinois, you guys, how's the Iowa season? Are you guys like 2 weeks straight or a week straight or
Gun?
shotgun? Yeah. Well, shotgun straight wall now, I guess.
Yep. So first season is the first weekend in December, followed by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then it's off for 2 days. And then it's Saturday, Sunday, all that week, then another weekend. So yeah, about 2 straight weeks.
Illinois is still 7 days. It's the week before Thanksgiving, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, off Thanksgiving week, and then the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday following Thanksgiving, the next week.
That's interesting.
Anyways, like, we have a big camp. We always have 10 people plus at our camp, and they're all older guys now. Anyways, on Saturday nights, tonight, everybody eats and everybody parties. We have a big bonfire going. Anything you can think of, drink, you can drink it there pretty well. Anyway, most time nobody hunts Sunday morning. Well,
Oh, I can see that.
yeah, my little brother, he's 5 years younger than me. Anyways, well, he ended up staying up and watching the sun come up, and he decides he's going to go climb a tree stand.
Good luck.
And he climbs up. He starts getting a headache as soon as the sun comes up. But anyways, deer walks in. No big deal. He pulls up, shoots, and comes and wakes me up because he's like, I didn't hit her good. You come help me. I was like, I never get a good blood trail. I always get called the hardest trail they can find. So I was like, all right. I said, bring the gun. We go back. We start trailing. Actually, bleeding pretty good. I mean, pretty steady. All of a sudden, I come across a stomach in the middle of the blood trail.
Really?
And I'm thinking, there's a lot of people hunt this piece public. Somebody killed one, coyotes, drug it off. Go another 50 yards. I kick his deer up. It's the deer he shot. It was
No
quartered
kidding.
away. He zipped it open and dropped everything out. It ripped its stomach completely out. All right, that's what I found on the trail, and the deer's still alive.
That's insane.
Yeah, so the deer was basically gutted, but I was sat there and watched it, and it smelled bad. It didn't just drop it was like a gut shot. And I watched my brother sit there and puke and puke and puke, trying to get everything out.
It's a little weak stomach, huh?
Well, that added that, and he's coming off the buzz of drinking all night. It was quite the ordeal.
They're pretty incredible animals. I remember a buck I shot with a bow. I can't remember if his must have been a fixed broadhead, but I rushed a shot and I hit a limb, and instead of the arrow bouncing off the limb and missing, literally slit this buck's throat, and blood was everywhere. More blood than you'd ever see on a heart shot or lung shot by quite a ways, and he probably went 300 yards.
Yeah, he cut his jugular and his carotid and killed him.
Yeah, but I mean, he made it long ways.
Yeah, I hit one kind of similar. My little brother came because my flashlight burned out. This deer come through, and I shot, and he was walking, and I lit him just a little too much. And what I ended up doing was going through his neck, and I nicked his windpipe. This deer only went like 50 yards, 60 yards, laid down in the thicket, which I didn't know at the time. I went to get out of there. My flashlight dies. Well,
Of course.
It's easy to get lost in this timber. I've been lost in it before. So I called my little brother up, telling him to bring me a flashlight. Well, I'm in the dark, and I just hear this. It almost sounds like a dog growling. Just
Really?
and I'm like, what is that? And my brother shows up. I get him directed to me. And he gets over there and we're quiet for a second, hear it again. And my brother's like, what is that? I said, I don't know. But it's been doing that since I called you. And we ended up walking over there, and it was that deer. He was still alive. And it had cut enough on his windpipe. It hadn't killed him yet. But he's sitting there trying to breathe, and he's only getting half a breath every time he takes a breath. So I ended up having to wrestle him down and finish cutting his throat out.
It's unbelievable how tough they are.
Yeah. Well, I've hit 5 or 6 with the vehicle. Only killed one of them that I knew I killed. Other than that, they got up and just kept on rolling.
A single lung, 9 times out of 10, won't kill them either. That's the worst one because you have lung blood and you'll just track and come up empty-handed.
Yeah, especially on a big mature deer. Big mature deer take a lot of killing.
Yep.
And you can shoot them perfect, and it doesn't matter. They're tough, especially in the rut. When they're rutted up, they're on adrenaline.
Too much other stuff on their mind to die at that point.
Did I send you the picture of the 9-pointer? And I've got like the vertigo white camo on.
I'd have to look.
But anyway, that deer, I shot that deer 3 times with a 50 cal muzzleloader.
Really?
I shot him. He come up over. He come at me. I let him get like 14, 15 yards, like quartering to, and I hammered him. And I mean, every time his heart beats, I see blood just squirting. I don't even reload the gun. I'm like, he's going to fall over. He just stood there. He just froze. Seen all his hair stand up when I hit him. And I could see blood just squirting. I could see blood falling out of him. And I was like, oh, he's going to fall right there. I just hang the gun back up, and I'm sitting there watching him. And sitting there, we get about the 2-minute mark. I'm like, why hasn't this deer went down yet? And I seen him start to get the wobbles. And he wobbled just a little bit, and he caught himself. Then he just turned around, he spun around, and started walking. I thought, well, that's new, that's different. So I reloaded the muzzleloader. He went broad about 40 yards. He turned broadside. I shot, hit him right in the shoulder. Bullet was a hollow point, blew up on his shoulder, but busted that shoulder. So he fell down on his face and went 50 yards. Then he's in a bedded position, and his head's still up. And I've only brought 4 bullets with me, 4 speed loads. So I loaded one up and took a shot and missed him somehow 50 yards. My son's up the hill hollering at me, asking me what's going on. I'm like, we might have to bring a gun down here because obviously I can't kill this deer. And I climbed down and shot him about 15 yards, but it looked like both lungs were taken on the first shot. Both lungs were taken on the last shot. The first shot, I just busted the shoulder. That was all that it was. But, I mean, he sat there and took all that before going down for good.
Muzzleloaders are tough. That I've noticed if you go straight through the lungs, they'll go through, and sometimes they won't even bleed.
Yeah,
no blood trail.
Yeah, I was going to say muzzleloaders, you can see that sometimes it's a great blood trail, and sometimes there's no blood, even if it was a great shot. It's a 50-50 shot on what kind of blood trail you get.
I think a lot of the straight wall cartridges are the same way, especially the 350 Legends.
Yeah, I bought one for my nephew, and he's going to use it, but I haven't shot a deer with it yet. And the neighbor, nothing but good things to say, but him and his buddy shot 4 mature bucks between the 2 of them with 350s. 3 of the 4 had good blood trails. Well, 2 had really good blood trails. 1 had an okay blood trail, and 1, there was no blood at all. I'm guessing that's specific on where you hit, what it does.
When I hunt muzzleloader, I'm doing the same thing you're doing with the bow, except I'm trying to hit the lead shoulder, the shoulder closest to me, and just right through the shoulders, right through the vitals, and I don't like tracking muzzleloader bucks anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's why I went to the hollow points, too. When I shot that deer, I went to the hollow point because I thought maybe it'd expand more, give me a better blood trail, because the one I'd shot beforehand didn't hardly bleed. So I thought if I switched to this hollow point, maybe it'll expand out more, give me a better blood trail. But it just blew up on the shoulder. That's one of the only times I've seen it happen. But I think deer have gotten tougher over the years, because I remember when I was a kid, you probably remember when you were a kid, you hit them with those little pumpkin balls out of a shotgun. You might not kill them, but they fell down, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
They might get up. Hard. Now they don't even fall down. It's like they just keep on going, they take it.
Are you still hunting with a muzzleloader?
I have a muzzleloader. I have a H&R Ultra 3 Ultra Slugger, 20H. That's what I've used for the past 15 years or so. I'll throw a muzzleloader in there every once in a while. When I'm in Kentucky, I use a 270.
Easier than loading a muzzleloader.
Yeah. Well, them Ultra Sluggers, I mean, You've probably seen some up there in Iowa. The bull barrel single shot shotguns.
I don't know if I've seen that one. Savage, I know, made a pretty good one.
Yeah. The Savage is a really nice gun. It's a little bit lighter gun like that. Ultra Slugger is like a 10-pound gun.
Really?
Yeah, it's a fully bull barreled shotgun. But they have it 12. They had it 20, which most people shot the 20. 12, you could buy it in either the 12 gauge frame or the 10 gauge frame. If you bought it the 10 gauge frame, it was like a 14-pound gun, but it didn't kick. You buy it that 12 gauge frame, you know you pulled the trigger.
For a while, I had a smokeless muzzleloader, and that was shooting a 300 grain bullet just under 3,000 feet per second, and I could hold dead center and hit a deer out to 280 yards.
That's a poke out there. Like down there in Southern Illinois, where I'm at, there, if you can shoot 100 yards, you're in an open spot. You know what I mean? Because most spots I hunt, 50 yards, 60 yards tops. I don't want to be able to. You probably do a lot of field hunting up there because I'm guessing all the fields in Iowa, you're not got to be on the edge of a field sometimes. I've always said field hunting's great for seeing deer, not great for killing deer.
It depends on the situation. If early, late season hunts, before it gets nasty enough where they're really driving towards the food plot, they'll actually walk right over a Nebraska food plot and eat off the cut corner bean field. I don't know if that's because they're smart and they're trying to preserve the good food source until, but you usually see a lot of good activity in the cut fields. The problem is it's flat, square mile sections. What do you think people do when they're not hunting?
Well, they're driving around.
Driving around. Of course, they see deer out there. They don't care if you're out hunting. They're going to stop and see.
Look at them.
There go all my deer. And you got to wait another half an hour for them to come out again.
Yeah, I was, when I was up there working this last go around, I was up around, I stayed in Charles City.
Dude, that's where I grew up 20 minutes from there, just north.
Yeah, we were working in Lima.
Where?
Or Lima Springs.
Lime Springs? Yep.
Yeah, that's where they were putting them windmills in at. So,
and you were staying in Charles City?
Yeah, that was close place. We could really find a hotel that we liked, and depending on which line they were going to take, when they set out them lines, a lot of times you don't go to the office, you just go to the site.
Do you remember how you got from Charles City to Lime Springs?
Yeah.
Were you going by a landfill?
No, the only thing I remember for sure off that drive, we might have went by a landfill, but I remember there was a place that said North Iowa Boar Semen.
Okay, I know the path you took. That was on Highway 9, so you drive through Riceville, east and west. That's the town I went to high school. Right in the middle of Riceville, there's a highway going south, and I grew up 5 miles south of there, and that's where I still hunt.
Yeah, that's a lot of open country up there. We seen some nice deer up there while we were up there. I mean, not new world records or anything, but they were nice deer.
It's flat up there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's flat.
So the river, as you're coming into Riceville, after going by North Iowa Boar Semen, there's a river. That's the Wapsie-Pinnakin River. That's the same river I hunt, except I'm 5 miles south.
Ah, I got you.
It's only 30 yards wide.
Yeah, well, the farther north you get, the more people are apt to call something a river. Like, I got a buddy from the UP. You go up there, and it's a swift running creek, and they call it a river.
Really?
I'm like, this is a creek, but that's what they call a river. So when he tells me he crossed the river, I have to be like, a river that you, a river I know, because I'm like, I'd be like, that's a creek, man. That ain't a river.
Then you got creek versus crick.
Yeah.
I think you're saying it right. It's spelled creek. I don't get where people get crick.
I've seen it spelled C-R-I-C-K.
Really?
I mean, it depends on which old timer you talk to. Which one says what?
Depends. Probably the same people that call a wash machine a wash machine.
My mom is very, my mom's almost 70, and she's gotten into texting and everything. She's grammar police with me.
Really?
On a text, but she says wash rag, not wash rag.
Come on, Mom.
I said, Mom, where's the R in there? I said, I'll tell her to spell it, and I'll say, where's the R?
Grammar police, huh?
Yeah, which that was my main subject in school I was good at was English. Yeah.
Well, at least she taught you something.
Yeah, well, my grandparents on my mom's side, they were both school teachers. I got a cousin that's a school teacher now. They had somebody, I forget how many off that side are teachers of some sort. My one cousin, she teaches special ed, and her husband teaches like 6th grade or something. So, yeah, there's a lot of teachers. Then on my dad's side, he was a welder, but he never taught me to weld, so I got into working iron. So,
A lot of that stuff's starting to come back around again. The whole not
well,
going to college and going to trade school.
yeah, I mean, they kept pushing it. They kept pushing, no, you can only go to college. That's the only way you can make money. I made plenty of money without going to college. And that's what I told my son. I said, look, I said, if you want to go to school, you can go to school, I guess. I said, I don't know particularly that I've seen your grades from high school. You don't like it. You don't like being in school. I don't know really that I want to support you going through college if you're not going to do it. I mean, I understand it's a good time to go party and chase chase women and do whatever, and that's fine. I mean, we all went through that stage. I was like, if you don't, I don't know that I want to put you through college. I said, if you ain't realized we aren't rich, probably need to get a job. He got on the boats. My brother drives a riverboat, barges. He got on there right when COVID hit. So instead of getting off in like 3 weeks or whatever the rotation was, he ended up there for like a month and a half, 2 months. He couldn't get off the boat. He'd never really been away from home. He was there for 4th of July and everything else. Well, he can't get off the boat. He was not a fan of that.
Are you on the Mississippi River?
Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah. But I think I can drive 40 minutes and I can get to the Mississippi and Ohio where they converge at.
That's got to be pretty rough country being that close to the river, isn't it?
Over on the Illinois side, it's not like if you think of Illinois corn and soybean fields where my mom and dad are. No, it's not like that. It's big hills, a lot of big rock.
River Bluff.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of that. A lot of snakes over that way.
No thanks.
Yeah. Well, they killed one Easter or timber rattler that was 6 foot. Killed a 4 foot copperhead that was going in the barn.
Kill them all.
Yeah, well, I mean, going in the barn, you can't have that.
That's one thing I don't like messing with snakes.
Yeah, but you were asking about stories. I remember I heard on your first episode you talked about pushing deer, right?
Yep.
You guys still do that? You guys still drive up there? Or is it still a thing, or has it kind of went away?
Yeah, I don't know if I talked to maybe my second guest, but it's definitely gone away. That was great question. It was so big when I was a kid, you couldn't drive around a square mile section without seeing 2 different hunting parties. And now you gotta drive long ways just to run into somebody, it seems like.
Well, when I grew up in the central part, north of where we are now, that was when I was talking about Petros and small timbers. So driving, that became something up there, which I went with a bunch of construction workers that my dad knew, because my dad was one of them before my dad got hurt. These guys would be drinking whiskey vodka at 7 a.m. I mean,
really?
And after getting into some situations that, I mean, nobody got shot or anything like that, we decided just not to do it with other people. We'd go do our own 1 man, 2 man pushes. But I remember me and my dad, it was before he got hurt, so it'd been in 95, 96. And I had permission on an old hog farm. He had one arm, had a hook on his other hand, but nobody hunted it. So we took my brothers, which my middle brother was still alive then. He's 2 years younger than me. He'd have been 13, 14, and then my youngest brother's 5 years younger than me. So, he'd been 10, 11. Anyways, my middle brother never killed a deer. He never wanted to really kill a deer. He just wanted to do it. He just went because everybody else went. Anyways, we decided to push out this fence row. And we don't get far. It's probably a mile push. And I start seeing tails getting up, bouncing, going through the timber. So I was like, well, we should start here shooting here before long. As we keep going, I just keep seeing more tails getting up and going. Get down there, and there's never a shot fired. Both my brothers, their eyes are as big as I've ever seen them. And I asked my brothers, I said, did any deer come through here? And he's like, yeah, probably 16 bucks and another 20 does. I said, are we not shooting deer, or what are we doing? He said, I thought I was shooting. He said, they came at them on a line. They got so close they split and went around both of them up against the base of a tree, going by them. And they just kept swinging on to the next deer and never pulled the trigger one time. Just ran over them.
Happened too fast, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of them shell-shocked moments.
Do you give them crap about that to this day?
Oh, yeah. I'll be like, I remember one time pushing. I never got sit, though. I was always a pusher. And then my dad My dad always has had deer camp since I was young. From the time I was probably 12 to now, if there's going to be people down, they're going to have tree stands. Dad hasn't set the tree stands down, and he'd have me go set them. Because I spent all summer in the woods. I spent all fall in the woods, all winter. I was in the woods. From the time I was 12, I was hanging everybody's deer stands for them. I was basically a guy that never got paid. That's what I was.
Exactly.
And then I learned how to blood trail, and I got pretty good at that, over time. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
walking's almost better than standing most of the time.
Well, you usually get just as many shots. I mean,
Well, the big bucks don't follow the big crowds. They're usually trying to sneak
no.
back on you.
Yeah, somebody kick one up and they'll circle around. And a lot of times we'd send somebody in behind us to walk it. After we walked ahead, they'd send somebody in off the back end of the drive to slow walk in case something circled back. They always killed a bunch of deer, but they never killed anything big. I seen one guy killed 161, I think, off a drive. No, I can tell this story because this dude's gone. Everybody knew he's a gruffer guy. They were poor family, and they lived on the river. And he would keep deer tags from years previous. In Illinois, every year used to change the color of their deer tags. He just spray painted.
Really?
He carried a short riot shotgun that they used to use for prison work, and it shot slugs good. And he could shoot running deer. I cannot shoot running deer. I'm no good at it. He'd start laying them down. You'd hear him start shooting, and he'd start laying deer down. I mean, he'd walk up, he'd have four or five deer slid. And he always carried a mason jar full of whiskey. And he'd take his knife, pull it out, and he'd flip it into the dirt and look at his wife. He'd say, "Woman, get to gut those deer." But she went over there and gutted those deer.
Well, he just
But,
sat there and watched.
yeah, drank whiskey.
What a prick.
It was something.
So, before we wrap this up, you probably know the drill by now if you've listened to a couple episodes. You got any embarrassing stories to share with our listeners?
Let's see. Trying to think of one. Sure, I've got more than one. Yeah. Just trying to think of one. I mean, it was the deer I thought I heart shot and bragged about it. Went home. It was the middle of a snowstorm. I shoot white fletchings, a white knock, and had a deer come into 12 yards. Pretty nice deer, 135 inch deer. And I shot, and it just whack. And this deer fell as he spun out of there. And I was like, oh, he's hurt. He's hurt. When I was talking all kinds of shit house. I was like, it's a nice deer. I said, he ain't going to be far. It's starting to snow. I was like, he's dead. And he fell going out of there. Get there, and look, and look, and look. And can't find any blood. No blood. And it's kind of a fence row off a pasture area. I'm like, just keep looking, There's blood here.
Gotta be.
Nothing. No. I mean, search for a while. I was like, all right, I just come body search in the morning because we were supposed to get like 3 inches of snow. And I come back the next day and spend half a day looking. I can't find this deer.
Really?
I'm like, nothing. I go back there where I shot at and just happened to look up, and I'd centered a tree perfect, and the knock had flew out. So the carbon was blending in.
Really?
To the tree. So I was looking over a day for a deer.
And the arrow was in the tree?
Yeah, it never made it to the deer. It made it like 4 yards. It hit this tree, and then I had to go home. My dad's like, well, where's he at?
I didn't find an arrow.
I said, I don't know. I couldn't find him. Finally, I had to tell him what happened. He's like, after all that, you missed? I said, I didn't miss. I just didn't reach my target. But yeah, that one, my buddy, I had a good buddy that shot one at the end of season once, and he never shot the deer. He knew he shot it back. And I walked in there and found some blood, so we just marked it off. We're going to come back the next day. It was like the day before the end of season, and I find a fresh shed antler. And I was like, well, cool. My first shed of the year, sitting there. My buddy, he's amped right now, He's like, that's 145-inch deer I shot. It was right at dark. I was like, I looked at that antler. I said, that ain't no 145. He said, that ain't the deer I shot. Shed's fresh, man. There's still blood on the base of it. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't see it. Now, the deer I shot was way bigger. I said, okay. We come in the next morning, start trailing. The deer didn't go 200 yards. We found the deer dead. Didn't have a rack on it.
Really?
3 foot away, laid in shed. and it was a shed. This deer's 100-inch deer, had shed when he shot it, and then shed when he fell down. He dropped both sides of his rack. But yeah, it was a 100-inch deer. And my buddy said, oh, that liver shot drops 30 inches off of him every time. So
We've all been there.
yeah, oh yeah. I got ran over by a deer once when I tried to kill it. I mean, I shot a deer. I wasn't going to shoot it again. I shot it with a shotgun, knocked it down in a spinal shot, or I thought it was a spinal shot. So I was like, well, I'll just walk up. I was probably 24 then, 25-ish. I was still pretty strong then. So I reached down there and grabbed this deer. I'm just going to cut its neck, you know. Apparently it wasn't spine shot because it jumped up and ran right at me and ran over the top of me, and we're rolling down a hill, and I've got a buck 110 flipped open. That's razor sharp. And this deer and me are rolling down this hill.
Was he trying to take you out or just get away?
He was trying to get away, but I had a hold of him, so the only way he'd get any slack was to come at me, pull my arm closer and get some slack. And then he come over the top of me with my brother sitting there. I was like, that ain't going well for you.
Something similar happened to my dad. One of the party members shot a deer, and they were looking for it, all that good stuff. And I think my dad came across it, and he is quite the prankster. So I think what he did is he shot in the ground. So when everybody got there, I shot this deer. I was the one who did it. And everybody started walking up to look at the deer, and they're kind of having their little chit chat, and the deer got up and ran away.
Yeah. That's never been a good feeling. I've been lost in the woods a couple times. I mean, I lost one night in the timber I know well, and I'd shot a deer. I shot the deer early. I said, well, I had all my scent blocker on. Didn't want to get it bloody. So I walked back to the truck, and it's only 85 yards, 100 yards to the truck. I go, take my stuff off. Come back, I took my stand, my bow, everything back out. Got a flashlight, got a knife. Go, walk right to the deer I've already found. I gut her, and I'm like, when I hit the creek, this little creek, I've got to turn and go up, and I'll come out to the trail that'll go down and lead to the truck. Well, I don't know how I got turned around in that little short amount of space, but I took off walking. And like 20 minutes in, I realized I have messed up. I have no clue where I'm at. There's no traffic on the road that's usually out there. There's no trains where I know where the train track was at. I'm just walking around, and it's 2 mile by 3 mile piece of timber. Finally, a train come by, and I had walked the wrong direction. I mean, I drug this deer almost to where I park when I'm hunting at another spot, which I'd had to go across the field. So I was like, okay, I know where I'm at now. I just got to turn around and drag it back, because I knew I was really messing up when I started dragging the deer downhill. There was no downhill in this track.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, I'm lost now. Train came by, okay. So I took off, and I'm like, I seen a spot I recognized, and I'm like, okay, if I'm right, I should be able to walk right there, turn, go over, and the trail be 50 yards. So I go up, and sure enough, I find the trail. I come back, I can't find the deer now. So I'm stumbling around looking for this deer with a pen light. I shot that deer at like 4:30 in the afternoon. I ended up pulling into my dad's house at like 10:30 that night.
No kidding.
I finally found it took forever to find the deer. And then finally found the deer and got home at like 10:30. My dad's like, get misplaced? I said, yeah, you could say I got misplaced. I said, you could have come out and found me. He's like, I figured you'd be back here anytime. I was like,
it's frustrating, isn't it?
oh, yeah, especially when I know where I'm at. I've been in this timber over the last 20 years. I don't know how many times. I don't know how many deer I've killed there. I've killed a bunch here. But yeah, you can get turned around, especially like if you have to walk around the tree down there and you get in the edge of the pines. That's where you screw up. If you get in the edge of the pines, because in the dark pine trees, every one of them looks the same. It's not like where you're at up there where you can just walk 300 yards any direction, you'll hit a field. 400 yards, I mean.
I don't know, man. The timber I hunt's 40 acres, and it's solid multi-flower rose bushes.
Yeah.
You can get lost pretty easy and still never make your way to the edge.
As long as you keep on a straight direction, you make it, though, pretty quick.
There's no
when you go around briars
or under, and it's tough.
Yeah, then you start looking, and everything starts looking the exact same. Yeah, I've been there, but yeah, that area up there that you live at, it's a nice area up there. Them people were not happy about us putting those windmills in. They were mad at us. I was like, look, man, they just paid me to do it.
Yeah, up there it's pretty average hunting compared to some of the other parts in Iowa. It's pretty mediocre. Southern Iowa's where it's at.
Yeah. Well, my uncle, he's passed away, and my aunt, I think she is, or she's in a nursing home up there, but he lived in Mason City,
Okay.
Iowa. So I'd stop there when I was going to North Dakota or something to work and stop in and see him. He'd take me down by the local cafe and be like, oh, look, my nephew stopped by.
Showing you
He's
off.
older. Yeah, yeah. Or no, he lived in Clear Lake. My mistake. He lived in
Okay.
Clear Lake. But yeah, I've been up through that area.
Yeah.
Been all over Iowa, actually. Worked.
It's a decent area.
Yeah.
But
actually, my 270's from Iowa.
Is it really?
I bought it. Yeah, I was working in Missouri on the line doing windmills. We were working right on the line at exit 1 there off 29. On
Lamoni?
west side.
Oh, west side of Iowa.
Yeah, and we were working in Tarkio, Missouri. So
Yep.
the nearest Walmart for us was right inside Iowa, and I drove up there, and that was during COVID. They had a Savage bolt action in wood, 270 for $160 with the scope out the door. And I was like, I can't pass that deal, and bought it.
The guy that's going to be on the episode that airs Monday, Seth, he's from Tarkio.
Yeah, Tarkio, Missouri. Yeah, we did some windmills down in there. There looked like there's some decent hunting in there, too. I mean, there was a little bit more timber there than I expected. When we were up there, one of the back roads by where we were doing windmills, there's somebody that raised pheasants, but he had all kinds of pheasants. I mean, not just the regular ringtails. He had some with feathers over the eyes.
Interesting.
And he had a fly pen back that they were in. I had a net over the top of it and nets on the side, to keep them in, keep predators out. I didn't know if you knew.
Yeah, you see those around once in a while. I'm not that familiar with the people in that area.
No, but you did know whenever I said the North Iowa boar season. Me and my buddy always joked about it. I'd be like, you want to stop by and get a shot after work? So I had to look, see, there is no South Iowa boar season.
Nope.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that place is still in business.
Yeah. Well, we looked it up, and I guess known for producing big hogs.
Show pigs, I believe.
Yeah. But yeah, we stayed in Charles City there, that Hy-Vee. That's where we did our grocery shopping at. That was a interesting place. On Thursdays, they had the adults with disabilities work there. They were the cashiers and bag people. They worked the whole store.
That's good.
Yeah, and I thought it was awesome. I mean, they could have gave us a warning, but, we walked in there, and I was like, what is going on, And somebody explained it to me, but yeah, it was a nice place.
Not expecting it.
Yeah, when you have a short mental disabled one would come up and ask you what you call a fish with no eyes, and then it says fish, and then laughs and takes off. I mean, it was kind of confusing.
Not expecting it.
But yeah, we stayed up there. We enjoyed our time up there. People were nice to us. As long as we didn't bring up the windmill part, they were pretty nice. When they brought the windmill part, I'd be like, you need to talk to your farmers, I guess. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Now your sign back here, that's your things for food plots, your Logic Hunt.
So it's a hunting app. You can download it and get nationwide parcel data for $10 a year right now.
Is it kind of like Onyx or Deer
Similar. We're still building it out. We launched in August, and real basic right now. You can get a 15-day weather forecast, nationwide land ownership for $10 a year. But we'll keep adding features here in the next couple of years, and we got some cool stuff coming that nobody else is doing. I just can't share that with you yet.
Oh yeah, no, I thought I'd give you a chance to plug your stuff.
So when you're trying to plan a hunt and prepare, what are some of the things you do to kind of help set yourself up for success?
I do make a list, and I go over that list thoroughly. I mean, as I'm packing the truck. And it's good. Social media has made it good where you can reach out to people. You'll meet people like me. I mean, I'll tell you anything you want to know about Polk County, Illinois, if you're nice to me. Now, you come out me sideways, I'll just shut. I'm not going to talk to you. I mean, but if you talk to me nice, I'll tell you. I've been trying to tell people to stay away from down there because, like you guys were talking about, I was listening to your episode earlier today about DHD. It's ran through down there, which I don't know what Iowa's limit is on there, but Illinois, it's $2 at every doe you can shoot.
Okay.
And we've been doing that since 96, 97. Well, the NHDs come through now, and the deer aren't there. And I hate seeing these people drive and spend the money. When I'm like, you go to Missouri and have a better hunt, you go to Indiana and have a better hunt, you go to Kentucky and have a better hunt, a cheaper hunt, and see more deer. But a lot of them are like, oh, you're just trying to keep us out. I'm not trying to keep people out. That's where Iowa does it right. Iowa, you've got to draw.
I still think there's a couple things they should change about Iowa. Technically, if you're a landowner, you can shoot a buck with an archery tag, one with a gun tag, plus a landowner tag. That's $3. That's too many.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how I've seen the jury videos and stuff. He gets killed $3 because he lives in Iowa, you know. And Illinois supports the $2 thing, which can be a good thing for, like, if you've got a farm and you've got a bully buck, where people don't want to burn their only tag to eliminate a bully buck that ain't never going to be what they want, but he needs to be taken out.
I think that's, and I could be wrong, I think that's when Indiana really turned the corner on getting big deers, when they went from $2 to $1.
Well, Kentucky's the same. We're a $1 state, regardless of weapon, $1. But they do. They're also not doing like Illinois is done, Wisconsin, Minnesota, where they found CWD. They're not down there killing every deer that moves, trying to kill it out. You're never going to kill it out.
No.
You know, and I mean Wisconsin and Minnesota. You can look at what they've done. They're trying to just kill every deer, and all they've done is get rid of the deer herd. There's just nothing there now, which I don't know. Has Iowa had any CWD cases?
Yeah, they don't get very extreme on trying to control it. They seem pretty reasonable on the expectations if it comes through. They're not wiping everything out.
Well, see, Illinois is just killing everything in the central part of the state right now. Kentucky, they just took the stance of they found it, and last year during the first week of rifle, if you shot a deer, you had to go take it to a check station.
Really?
And they would take a sample and send you back, which I don't think they found anymore, but they eliminated the baiting. But they do, like, is Iowa's deer harvest, is it a buck and a doe, a buck and 2 does? I mean,
don't have to kill any does.
Well, I mean, do you have a limit on what you can kill, though? Like, can you only kill a buck and a doe, or can you kill 2 does? Or
what they do is they have quotas for each county, and let's say Mitchell County's 400, one person can go in and buy 30. And then once 400's gone, and if I don't get there fast enough, I don't get any.
Okay, I got you. Well, like, broken into zones, like the zone I live in is unlimited doe kill. But this zone up here is 1 buck and 4 does. This zone over here is 1 buck and 2 does. This zone over here is 1 buck, and that's it. And, I mean, but Illinois, they need to, people aren't coming down there like they used to. Nobody wants to drive down there to not see deer. All these, half of what we get come from Chicago. And they just come down there, you know, and shoot whatever. Well, who's going to drive 6 hours to see no deer?
Exactly.
Spend $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 in, you know, the neighborhood there to see nothing. They try and push the numbers and say the numbers are the same, but I'm telling you right now, I could find 30 or 40 shed antlers 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and now I might find 1 shed antler.
That's pretty drastic difference.
I'd see back in 2000, 2001, it wasn't nothing to see 30 in a set. And we'd have a 20-mile circle from my dad's around. We'd see 100, 120 deer every drive. Now, if you see 30, it was a big day. The deer were really moving. And they try and tell us the numbers are the same.
Yeah, they're trying to keep hunters coming back so they don't lose the revenue.
Well, you guys draw out. Illinois, if you got $500, you got tag. But yeah, we were talking about, like, when you say prepare for a hunter, are you talking about going out of state to hunt, or just...
Well, just your routine of, you know, trying to nail down a specific target deer.
Me, it's boots on the ground and eyes. My son, he's the camera guy. You know, he'll run cameras. Me, I like boots on the ground. I like putting eyes on deer, especially late season. Late season used to be, I loved it. Do you guys, your deer still move pretty good after gun season, or do they kind of just hole up and disappear on you?
They know when gun season's over and they'll start moving again.
Well, they got to. I mean, it gets cold, but like where my dad lives at, you know, southern part of Illinois, if it gets cold down there, my cold, your cold are different. My cold's below 30 for an extended time. It's really cold if it's below 0, which, you might still be in a short sleeve up there. But out down there, that's pretty cold. But usually I can find deer then grouped up. And they'll group up on honeysuckle, red oak. You'll find a late dropping red oak or a late dropping persimmon, and you can start dialing in on them. That's what I used to do whenever I kept working and then only had late season to hunt. Plus, there was nobody out. So it was easy to get on big groups of deer to walk until you found deer and then start setting up and watching. Found a deer that you wanted to hunt, I'd move in and watch for a minimum of 2 days, 3 days until I got the right wind, and then I'd make my move. And if I blew them up, it wasn't no big deal. I'd find another group, go hunt them. But now, like I said, deer aren't there, man. They just aren't. I hunted hard during bow season. This job now, I work like a 10 and 4 schedule. I work 10 days, I'm off 4 days. I get to go home. I hunted hard last year. I only seen maybe 2 dozen deer in Illinois.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah. And I mean, it's spots I've routinely killed deer for 20 years. I mean, consistent killing spots. People are like, oh, they've moved. Well, it's not my first year. I know how to find deer. I know how to get on deer. And they're not here. They're just not. And they're like, well, you need to move. When I hunt during the season, half the time I hunt a spot I know, the other half the time I go to a new spot I've never been. And just not finding deer, period. Anywhere, PhD is what's done. I mean, at killing does, unlimited doe kill for 25, 26 years. I mean, they need to change something. Illinois used to be a top spot to go.
Yep, and I'm sure it probably is still in some spots.
I mean, Pike County's pretty well. I mean, there's still big deer. There's always going to be a big deer in Pike County. There's always going to be a big one in Browns. I mean, there's always going to be a good deer killed there. But it's not like it was 15 years ago. And I hate to be the old man screaming at the sky, but the crossbows, that's a whole other can of worms. Probably shouldn't get into because I'm not a fan. I'm a fan if you're disabled, need it. Or you're a small, young child, you can't pull 40 pounds. I agree with it. I see a guy that's 30 years old shooting around. Just rubs me a little wrong. Like I said, I'm the old man screaming at the sky.
We can save that discussion for another time, but I do need to wrap this up. It's great having you on. I feel like we had some pretty good conversation.
Well, I mean, I hope I did all right.
Well, I mean, the idea behind this is to not make it feel like a podcast, is just shoot crap, talking, hunting, and record it while we do it.
I mean, I could have told you like I told my son when he told me he was shooting a Matthews. He was an electrician. I just looked him in the eye. I said, you can just go ahead and tell me you're gay, son. It's 2023.
What are you shooting?
Right now, I think I'm shooting an Elite. I think I've got right now.
Okay.
Been looking at the PSE. I'm a lefty, so I don't have the options usually at the bow shop. Shoot. I'm guessing you shoot right-handed.
Yep.
My son, I made him right-handed. I patched him till he was for 3 years and taught him to shoot right-handed because the options for the bows, guns not so much, but bows, I wanted him to have a chance. Me, I just pick something up, usually off Facebook or eBay. I'll eBay a left-handed bow and try and shoot something different.
Yep.
I shot a Matthews. I shot one Matthews. Very shootable, though. Just didn't have enough oomph for me.
Okay.
But yeah, I like it's the Ford and Chevy discussion.
To each their own, right?
It's something to picking each other about, you know what I mean? I like to have fun, people. I'm friendly enough, but if I find something that we can disagree on, I'm all about it. I like to have the banner.
You're not going to work me up. It's great having you on. And hopefully, I think this episode should turn out pretty good. So for all our listeners, if you would, tell all your friends about us. We're just getting started. If you have somebody that wants to get on and record an episode, we got a few people coming in and requesting to be on. That's how Nick reached out to me. Just reached out and asked if we could record a podcast. And I'm sure eventually, once we start growing, we'll probably get too many people where we're going to have to do applications. But appreciate it if you tell your buddies about us and leave us a review, and we'll kind of go from there. Keep calm and shoot straight. I'll have to come up with something better than that. So thanks for listening. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of A Hunter's Legacy. Remember, hunting isn't just about the harvest. It's about the journey and the legacy we all leave behind. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with all the other hunters in your life. And if you have a story to tell, we'd love to hear it, because every hunter has a legacy worth sharing.